Good evening and welcome to the Sleeping Zoo. Facts to fall asleep to. The Bengal tiger Panthera, tigris, is not merely the largest and most charismatic of the cat species, but an unparalleled evolutionary success story. A creature perfectly sculpted by millions of years of selective pressure to dominate the diverse and challenging ecosystems of the Indian subcontinent. This magnificent predator, whose stripes are as unique as a human fingerprint, has long reigned as the undisputed apex carnivore, a potent blend of raw power and specialized stealth. To begin our detailed examination of this endangered icon, we must first appreciate the extraordinary biological architecture that makes it such an efficient hunter, delving into the intricacies of its physiology. The Bengal tiger's physique is a testament to its primary hunting strategy, the short-range, explosive ambush. Unlike the cheetah, built for speed, or the jaguar, built for crushing power, the tiger is a balance of muscular density and silent efficiency. Its musculature is deeply packed, particularly across the shoulders and hindquarters, providing the necessary torque for pouncing on large prey and for dragging carcasses that often outweigh the tiger itself. For context, a fully grown male can weigh up to 220 kilograms and possess the strength to haul a fully grown water buffalo over short distances. The sheer scale of this muscle mass contributes to its impressive ability to leap and accelerate from a standstill. The coat, arguably the tiger's most famous physiological feature, is a masterwork of camouflage. The pattern of vertical black stripes against an orange to tawny background is not designed to blend into green foliage, but rather to disrupt the tiger's outline against the broken shadows and dappled light of the forest floor, particularly in the tall, dry grasses that dominate much of its habitat. Crucially, the stripes are not just fur-deep. The pigmentation pattern extends to the skin, meaning that even if shaved, the tiger would retain its distinctive markings. This camouflage is highly effective because most ungulate prey species are dichromats, meaning their vision is less acute than human vision, and they struggle to distinguish orange and red from green and brown, making the tiger's disruptive patterning a highly effective cloak of invisibility in its natural environment. Supporting this physical power is a suite of specialized sensory organs and dental structures. The tiger possesses highly acute night vision, a necessity for an animal that does most of its hunting in the crepuscular hours of dawn and dusk, or completely in darkness. This is achieved through the tapetum lucidum, a reflective layer behind the retina that acts like a biological mirror, reflecting incoming light back through the retina, effectively doubling the light absorption capacity. This is what causes the characteristic eye shine observed in big cats at night. The sense of hearing is also exceptional, with large mobile ear pinnae that can pivot independently to pinpoint the exact location of rustling prey or a distant warning call. While its sense of smell is less dominant than in canids, it remains vital for territorial marking and tracking. The tiger's dentition is specialized for tearing flesh and crushing bone, reflecting its hypercarnivorous diet. It possesses a dental formula designed for killing and consuming large prey. The 4 long recurved canine teeth are formidable, often measuring up to 10 centimeters in length. These are used to pierce the cervical vertebrae or to sever the trachea and major blood vessels in the neck of its prey, leading to rapid expiration. Behind the canines are the highly developed specialized premolars and molars, known as carnassial teeth, which act like powerful sharp shears to slice through tough muscle, tendon, and sinew, allowing the tiger to efficiently process meat and bone into manageable pieces for swallowing. This physiological perfection of sight, strength, and specialized weaponry is what allows the Bengal tiger to sustain the rigorous, solitary behavior that defines its life as a stealth hunter. The behavior of the Bengal tiger is a masterpiece of stealth and patience, anchored by its strict, solitary nature and relentless territoriality. Unlike lions, tigers live, hunt, and raise their young alone. This solitary existence is not necessarily preferred, but is an adaptation to its forested ambush environment, where large prey is scattered and requires a single stealthy hunter rather than a cooperative team. A tiger's life revolves around defending and patrolling its home range. The size of this territory varies dramatically depending on the density of prey. In prime conservation areas with abundant prey, a male tiger may require a territory of 20 to 60 square kilometers, while in depleted habitats, a range may need to be twice as large to sustain him. The tiger employs a sophisticated system of scent marking and vocal communication to define the boundaries of its domain. Scraping, where the tiger rakes the ground with its hind paws, and spraying, where it directs a mixture of urine and anal gland secretions onto trees and bushes, serve as olfactory signposts. These scent marks contain complex chemical messages, conveying the individual's identity, reproductive status, and the timing of its passage, communicating a detailed unseen map of the forest to rivals and potential mates. The most iconic vocalization is the roar. The tiger's roar, which can travel for up to 3 kilometers, is used primarily as a long-distance statement of territorial ownership and is a direct warning to encroaching rivals. The unique low-frequency structure of the roar means it travels effectively through dense forest environments. Beyond the roar, tigers utilize a surprisingly diverse vocabulary, including chuffing, a soft, breathy sound used as a friendly greeting between a mother and her cubs, or between a pair during courtship, and growls, moans, and hisses used in close-range confrontations. The hunting strategy is the core behavioral sequence. It is based almost entirely on stalk and ambush. The hunt is a careful, measured process that can be broken down into the distinct stages: detection, stalking, ambush, takedown, and kill. Let's go through them in turn. Detection, using sight and sound to locate prey, often spending hours watching a grazing herd. Stalking, the tiger moves low to the ground, utilizing every piece of cover to close the distance. This stage demands immense patience, with the tiger sometimes belly crawling for hundreds of meters. Ambush, launching a rapid explosive charge over a short distance, usually less than 20 meters. Takedown, using its massive forelimbs and razor-sharp claws to pull the prey off balance. Kill, delivering the fatal bite, typically to the throat to cause asphyxiation, or to the back of the neck to sever the spinal cord, depending on the size of the prey. This high-risk, high-reward strategy is energetically demanding. Due to the difficulty of approaching prey, the hunting success rate of a tiger is relatively low, estimated at only about 5% to 10% of attempts. This low success rate underscores the tiger's need for vast resource-rich territories. Reproductive behavior is similarly solitary. Following a brief courtship, the male and female may associate for a few days of mating, after which the male departs, leaving the female to raise the young alone. The gestation lasts approximately 104 days, resulting in a litter of 2 to 4 cubs. The mother raises her cubs in secluded, well-hidden dens, moving them frequently to avoid drawing the attention of predators and male tigers, who pose a significant threat of infanticide to remove competition and bring the female back into estrus. The cubs remain dependent on the mother, learning every aspect of survival for approximately 2 to 3 years before they finally disperse to find their own territories. This long period of maternal care, coupled with the low success rate of their solitary hunt, demands that the tiger's habitat provide continuous, unfragmented security and a reliable, diverse prey base. The habitat of the Bengal tiger is remarkably varied, demonstrating a high degree of adaptability. Yet, it is always characterized by the presence of dense cover and water. Historically, the tiger's range spanned virtually the entire Indian subcontinent, from the Himalayas to the tip of Kerala, but today its distribution is fragmented into isolated pockets across India, Nepal, Bhutan, and Bangladesh. The tiger is a habitat generalist, but a cover specialist. It can be found in a dramatic spectrum of environments, each posing unique challenges. Moist deciduous and tropical evergreen forests are the classic dense jungle environments, characterized by high rainfall and a layered canopy, offering the ultimate in camouflage and a stable prey base of various deer species. Dry deciduous forests and scrublands, found in central and western India, feature lower rainfall, sparser vegetation, and extreme seasonal temperature fluctuations. Here, tigers often rely on water bodies that persist through the dry season and face competition from leopards. Subtropical and temperate grasslands, particularly the tall grasses of the Terai-Dwar region of Nepal and northern India, are dense, high grasses, often exceeding the height of a tiger, and provide perfect cover for stalking and ambushing prey like the swamp deer and rhinoceros. The Sundarban's mangrove forests are a unique habitat, shared by India and Bangladesh, and is the only place in the world where tigers are found in a tidal mangrove environment. These tigers are adapted to swimming across broad tidal channels, living on islands, and preying on species like the spotted deer and wild boar, surviving on high salt intake and enduring constantly changing water levels. Despite this versatility, the single most critical factor in any tiger habitat is riparian integrity, meaning the presence of clean, permanent water sources. Tigers are proficient swimmers and require water not only for drinking, but also for cooling down in the extreme heat of the South Asian summer, often spending the hottest hours submerged in waterholes. The availability of water is inextricably linked to the availability of prey, as herbivores concentrate near permanent sources, making water bodies the strategic center of any tiger's territory. The constant loss of forest cover due to logging and encroachment, coupled with the seasonal variations in monsoon rainfall, means that the security and resource richness of these critical habitat patches are constantly under threat, directly impacting the entire ecology of the predator-prey system. The ecology of the Bengal tiger defines it as the keystone species of its forest and grassland environments. A keystone species is one whose removal has a disproportionately large effect on its ecosystem, and the tiger's predatory role is crucial for maintaining the ecological balance and health of the entire food web beneath it. The tiger occupies the highest trophic level, regulating the populations of large herbivores, known as its prey base. The primary prey species include sambar deer, spotted deer, wild boar, and nilgai, as well as sometimes tackling formidable animals like water buffalo and gorilla. A healthy adult tiger requires an average of 50 to 60 large ungulates per year to sustain its metabolic needs. This high demand means that the tiger constantly exerts a powerful selective pressure on its prey populations. By selectively removing the weak, old, or sick individuals, the tiger helps to maintain the genetic fitness and overall health of the herbivore populations. More profoundly, the presence of the tiger creates a phenomenon known as the landscape of fear. The mere presence of the apex predator dictates the movement, distribution, and foraging patterns of its prey. Large mammals cannot graze freely. They must move cautiously, avoiding dense cover and areas where the tiger is known to patrol. This avoidance behavior indirectly benefits the vegetation, as it prevents overgrazing in sensitive areas, allowing plants, saplings, and sensitive undergrowth to thrive. Thus, the tiger's survival ensures the biological diversity of the entire forest structure. When tigers are absent, herbivore populations can explode, leading to overgrazing, habitat degradation, and a catastrophic loss of plant diversity, demonstrating that the tiger is essential for the structure of the habitat itself. However, the tiger also faces intense interspecific competition from other carnivores that share its territory, primarily the leopard and the Indian wild dog. Leopards, though smaller, are highly adaptable and often coexist by specializing in smaller prey and using different hunting times, often staying closer to human settlements. Does, or wild dogs, are social hunters and can take down prey almost as large as the tigers, often competing for the same deer species. The tiger usually maintains dominance over these competitors, frequently engaging in stealing kills known as kleptoparasitism, and occasionally killing competitors to reduce predation pressure on its own food supply. The dhole in particular poses a threat to tiger cubs and subadults, sometimes harassing adult tigers away from their kills, highlighting the complex dynamics of the forest hierarchy. This intricate web of life, where the tiger is both king and competitor, is increasingly frayed by human encroachment, placing its conservation status in a continuous state of emergency. The conservation status of the Bengal tiger is critically endangered, despite intensive protection efforts spanning decades. The species is listed as endangered globally, and the remaining wild population is estimated to be below 4,000 individuals, confined to highly fragmented protected areas that often resemble small, isolated islands of forest. The population crash of the 20th century, driven by habitat loss and rampant hunting, was dramatic, and while the decline has largely been halted in core areas, the long-term survival of the species remains acutely challenging due to three primary, interlocking threats. The foremost immediate threat is poaching driven by the illegal wildlife trade. Tiger parts, such as bones, skins, whiskers, and organs, are highly valued in certain traditional Asian medicine markets, driven by the erroneous belief in their medicinal or talismanic properties. This demand fuels an international organized criminal network that targets tigers across their range. Despite robust anti-poaching measures, including armed patrols and surveillance technology, the financial incentive for poachers remains high, leading to continuous losses of breeding adults. The protection of the tiger has thus become a paramilitary exercise, requiring constant vigilance and advanced monitoring techniques to safeguard the remaining animals. The second major threat is habitat fragmentation and loss. Even within protected tiger reserves, the surrounding areas are rapidly being converted for agriculture, infrastructure, and human settlement. The remaining forest patches are too small and too isolated to support genetically viable populations over the long term. This isolation leads to genetic bottlenecks, reducing the diversity within the population and making the tigers more susceptible to diseases and inbreeding depression. The key to long-term conservation is securing and restoring strips of protected habitat known as wildlife corridors that allow tigers to move safely between otherwise isolated protected areas, enabling genetic exchange and allowing young tigers to disperse and establish new territories. The third, and increasingly difficult, threat is human-wildlife conflict. As tiger populations stabilize or increase in core reserves, and their prey base is pushed to the boundaries of the forest, tigers are inevitably pushed out into human-dominated landscapes in search of food or to establish new ranges. This leads to livestock depredation and, tragically, occasional attacks on people. These conflicts often result in the retaliatory killing of the tiger by local villagers, undermining conservation gains. Conservation strategies must now integrate community-based approaches, offering compensation for livestock loss, relocating villages away from critical core areas, and educating communities on safe living practices near tiger reserves. The success of large-scale initiatives, most famously Project Tiger in India, which established a network of specialized reserves, has demonstrated that protection works. But the survival of the Bengal tiger now depends less on protection within reserves and more on the tolerance and connectivity outside them. Given its raw power, striking appearance, and elusive nature, the Bengal tiger has long occupied a sacred, powerful, and often fearsome space in popular culture, folklore, and legend across its native range and throughout the colonial world. In Indian mythology and folklore, the tiger is often revered as a symbol of immense power, courage, and divine ferocity, representing a complex duality of protection and destruction. The tiger is inextricably linked to the powerful Hindu goddess Durga, the warrior goddess who battles evil. She is famously depicted riding a tiger or a lion, symbolizing her mastery over primal energy and her boundless power. This association grants the tiger a near-sacred status, offering it a degree of protection, as harming a tiger could be seen as incurring the wrath of the deity. Furthermore, in many tribal traditions across India and Nepal, the tiger is a central totem animal, believed to be a powerful ancestor or spirit that protects the forest, reinforcing the ecological reverence for the animal. Stories of humans who can transform into tigers are common in the folklore of regions like the Sundarbans, reflecting a deep-seated respect and fear of the animal's proximity and power. During the British colonial era, the tiger's image underwent a dramatic transformation in Western culture. It became the ultimate object of the big game hunter, transitioning from a mythological deity to a symbol of the wild that needed to be conquered. The tiger hunt became an elaborate, expensive social ritual, often conducted from the backs of elephants. All at once, the tiger earned a fearful reputation as a man-eater. While most tigers avoid humans, certain injured, old, or habituated individuals would switch to human prey when they could no longer hunt fleet-footed ungulates. Famous accounts by writers like Jim Corbett immortalized the terror and tracking skill associated with these man-eaters, cementing a Western perception of the tiger as a fearsome, savage adversary. A creature to be respected, yes, but ultimately to be subdued. In modern popular culture, the tiger's image is overwhelmingly one of majesty and conservation necessity. It is a favored mascot and emblem globally, representing power, speed, and confidence in sports and corporate branding. In literature and film, the tiger often symbolizes the wild spirit or a source of deep wisdom. The character Shere Khan from Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book is a famous example, embodying a malevolent, aristocratic terror of the forest. More recently, the magnificent tiger Richard Parker from Jan Martel's Life of Pi captures the dual nature of the tiger's awesome beauty and its brutal, uncompromising reality, challenging the reader to reconcile the romantic symbol with the biological necessity of the killer. The tiger's presence in media, whether as a fearsome colonial foe or a powerful symbol of endangered nature, has kept it at the forefront of the global imagination, ensuring that the necessary public support for its conservation remains strong. In summary, the Bengal tiger is an evolutionary marvel, a perfect killing machine whose dense musculature, cryptic physiology, and specialized senses allow it to function as a solitary, effective ambush predator. This capacity dictates a behavior rooted in relentless, silent territoriality and a mastery of the stalk and ambush sequence, supported by sophisticated scent and vocal communication. Its presence across dramatically diverse habitats, from high-altitude forests to tidal mangroves, demonstrates its resilience, yet it relies absolutely on permanent water and dense cover. As the keystone species of its environment, its predatory role is essential for maintaining the health and diversity of the entire ecosystem. However, this magnificent animal faces overwhelming threats from poaching, habitat fragmentation, and human-wildlife conflict, pressures that demand immense resources and international cooperation to manage. From its sacred role as the Vahana of the goddess Durga to its modern status as the global symbol of endangered wilderness, the Bengal tiger's survival is both a biological imperative and a cultural legacy that humanity cannot afford to lose. Thank you and good night.